Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Dandria Brown. Hey, Dr. Kiarra. So let's see. I can invite you. Hey. Okay, good. Hey, Brandy J. Rose. Hi, Gwen Jones. Hi, Ogie19. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Hey.
I'm like, let me move back a little bit so my head is not like all cut off.
You look so pretty. I love your hair.
Thanks, girl. It's doing its thing.
Yeah, girl. You look cute, girl.
Thanks. Thank you. You do too. Your skin is all glowy.
I mean, I be trying. I'm surprised it's glowy. It should be dehydrated as much salt as I took in the last 48 hours.
Girl, I have my water intake has been horrendous.
None. And you know what I took a swig of before I pushed live? I felt guilty too. The Holy Spirit convicted me. And I ain't bring it back here with me to sip on because I was like, I'm going to look real bad. I'm starting on January 2nd, okay?
What was this? A Pepsi?
A Pepsi.
I don't know what it is. It's always Pepsi for people. It's like it was Pepsi.
Man, I don't even hardly ever drink Pepsi. Look at that. Look at a pimple trying to show up. I don't never have acne. That's how bad I was this weekend.
Look, and I need to reorder. I need to re-up on my Pretty Skin RX kit.
Let me know what you need when we get off. You know, okay. I got
you. I've been slacking.
Me too.
I told somebody, I'm like, I need a regimen. Like that regimen works for me because it's like do this. When I start running out of products, I'll be like, oh, I gotta order, and then life gets in the way. You don't order, and then next thing I know, I'm doing all kind of tomfoolery,
all kind of stuff.
Some of this, using some of that.
Look, I'm the whole owner of the brand, and I do the same thing. All I got to do is grab a bottle when I'm at the office.
How you run out of stuff?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's literally the girls will, when I'll make mention, they'll like stick it in my purse to make because I'm
take it now.
They'll stick it in my purse because I'll be like, I need so and so, and I'll keep forgetting, and I just and I got a bunch of products, different stuff, so I'll just start using some of the other stuff. But it's certain things that I don't care what stuff I'm using. I always use those things, and I slip up, and it's my whole skincare line. Girl. This is part of why we're on here today.
Yeah.
Oh, CC Cash said we're her favorite doctor.
Oh, thanks, girl. Yeah, girl.
But this is part of why we're on here today.
Getting it together.
Got to get it together because, we neglect ourselves, and then when we call ourselves taking care of ourselves, we're kind of missing the most important components.
Yeah.
Like, you seem to be pretty physically fit.
You like, yeah.
He was like, really?
No, listen. So I'm sure you're going to explain the whole process of what you're going through and what your goals are. When I saw you post it, I was like, shoot, I'm not necessarily trying to have plastic surgery, but can I jump in the group?
You know how many people said that?
Yes.
And the thing is, it's really, you really don't have to be getting plastic surgery to.
No.
It's not, you know how you have to this is my business hat. You have to have a clear objective with initiatives when you put them out there, and a clear target audience.
Right.
And I have this issue with patients all the time, like, well, we got to reschedule their surgery because they didn't lose the weight that they needed to lose.
Mm-hmm.
But for the majority of those women, even though they may not realize it when they first come and meet me, the reason why they can't lose the weight is a spiritual issue.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you, I end up, and the women who walk away and are successful in getting the weight off that they need to get off are the people who follow the instructions laid out. Because I don't just be like, you need to lose 30 pounds. Right. I don't do that.
Right.
I sit right there with them, and I break down, help them figure out what their weaknesses are from a dietary standpoint, because I don't care what anybody says, what you eat is what makes you gain or lose weight. The exercise part is a bonus, but if you're doing all the exercise in the world and eating trash and you're trying to lose weight, you won't lose 1 pound.
For sure.
If you're going to pick one thing to do, you got to get the diet under control. So
right.
I'll
diet is going to outrun. You can get the diet. If you don't get the diet under control, but say you lose the weight with exercise and you have surgery, but you didn't get the diet in control and say, hey, this has to be a lifestyle, that weight is going to just come right back. And you're going to be
but
like,
I haven't seen anybody lose, a person who needed to lose weight. I ain't talking about somebody like you who already fit, flat belly and all of this business. I ain't talking about people like you. I'm talking about like folks like me who need to lose weight for real. If you need to lose weight for real and all you do is exercise, you won't lose no weight. If you need to lose 30 pounds and all you do is start exercising and you don't do anything to modify your diet, you're not going to lose any weight.
Yeah.
It's just, I personally haven't seen it happen.
Yeah.
They're like, I've been going to the gym with my
ridiculous regimen, but they honestly, they go hand in hand. I have seen more people either keep weight off or not really gain weight who don't even exercise. Yeah. But their diet is, it may not be the best like all the time, right, every single day, but their diet is, and I hate to say diet because I don't want people to think you have to. I don't mean like diet, being on a diet. It's just like the way that they lifestyle. Eat. Yeah. No, I know you're saying the same thing. I don't, whoever's listening, I never want people to think like you have to be on a diet because that for the rest of your life, that diet or that plan, right? If you don't maintain it, you're gonna go back to whatever you were before. If you don't maintain it some way. So yeah, for sure, you have to be like in line with, like you said, your goals. You have to understand why you're doing this. You have to understand what led you to, first of all, you have to have an awareness of if being overweight is an issue for you, because some people don't have that awareness. And one thing that's interesting, we talked about something before, and I can't remember if it was you and I, or if we just commented back and forth about using the terms like fat shaming and stuff like that. And I absolutely don't think that anybody should be shamed and like, you're horrible because this is how, not at all. But we absolutely know, we're both physicians, that that body mass index, size can absolutely impact health outcomes. Like kill you. Exactly. There's no way around that. As much as people want to make it pretty and dress it up, there's no way around it. Like, and obviously, like people are like, well, everybody gonna die one day. Well, listen, I don't want to die when I'm 50. I want to die when I'm 95. Listen, one of my favorite verses is, I want you to be in health even as your soul prospers. Like, but like you said, it's a spiritual and a physical thing. And so people have to first have the awareness that there's an issue. And then if they're not aware, I do believe that people have to be made aware in a very graceful way. Like, let me tell you how I do it. Huh? You said what?
Let me tell you how I do it.
How you do it?
It works. Ain't nobody went off on me yet. Because I'm kind of, the Lord has been refining me to soften me up a bit. Because I'm kind of like,
you're blunt. That's just who you are.
Yeah, but he's helping me like polish it up and soften it up a bit. But this is what I say. When I'm in the room with I don't want to be skinny. Because that's the first thing they say. I'm like, you're far from skinny. I don't say that, but I'm far from skinny. Okay. Right. No, I got you. Okay. But you ain't skinny. We ain't even close to skinny. And where I'm trying to get you to go to ain't skinny. Right. My cutoff is still considered obese.
Right. What is your cutoff, by the way?
33.
And still is this obese. For all plastic surgery procedures or like abdominoplasty or
most of the plastic surgery procedures? The only one where I'm not like hard and fast on it is if someone is getting a breast reduction.
Got it. Okay.
I don't do breast reductions that often because I don't take insurance, and that's one of those things that can be covered by insurance. So people, they'll every so often people be like, I don't care, I'm just gonna pay you.
Right.
But most I don't do those a ton. But that is one surgery where I don't necessarily require. They have to be huge. for me to be like, you need to lose weight to get the breast reduction. That's the one surgery I'll do. But what I say to them, I'll ask them, how old are your kids? You know, like, let's say they say, 10 and 8. And I'm like, you want to meet your grandkids? And they're like, yeah. And then I say, how many fat 90-year-olds do you know? And they look at me just like you looking. Because they be thinking, trying to think of somebody. And I'll let them do that for about 30 seconds. And then I'm like, you're not going to think of anyone. You know why? Because they all died in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Because when you see somebody that's 90, 95, they're actually skinny.
Yeah, they are. They might have a little tiny grandma pooch or little something.
But it's a little pooch, but the pooch is mostly skin.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally not fat. Like, there's no fat 90-year-olds.
Yeah. But again,
and so they'll get quiet. They'll get quiet. And then they'll be like, I'm like, if you want to be here,
right,
you can talk, you can rationalize all you want. But this is what made me start trying to do better. Right. Because I was looking at my kids, and I started having children later than the average person because of my career, you know. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to meet my grandkids.
Yes.
I want to help Myla Rose pick out her dress. I want to see what Bennett does in this world. Like, I want to see it. I want to be here.
Yep. But again, that's not even harsh. Like, that doesn't seem at all harsh. It's literally like, we don't have to make things super pretty and sugarcoat stuff. Like, you're literally giving them an example of something that they may, again, everybody want to live a long life, but are you going to live a long life generally with the habits that you are creating or that you're living in now? What I usually tell people, because I don't come out and be like, tell somebody they're fat or this or that. That's nobody wants to hear that. And
nobody wants to hear that.
Receptive to that. So I literally will be very objective. I will say, whatever, the BMI will be calculated in an EMR system. And for those who don't know, BMI, body mass index. And so I'll say, okay, your BMI is 35. Normal is this to this. Overweight is this to this. Obese is 30 and above. You are at 35. They can then draw their own conclusions, and they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
Doc, you calling me fat? I'm like, I'm not calling you nothing. I'm just giving you what your BMI is. But for real. But again, when you have that rapport with patients where you can kind of laugh and joke and really, and I won't say necessarily, do you know any fat 90-year-olds, but I will literally say, you have kids, right? Like, do you want to see your kids graduate from high school? Like, I put it into very real terms. Do you want to see your kids graduate from college? And I'm an OB-GYN, so most of the things I'm doing aren't necessarily dependent on weight. Like, somebody's coming for a pap smear.
Right.
But I still talk to them about it because I believe that we all need to be talking to patients about their whole health.
Right.
If and when possible.
The whole human.
Yeah. And so I will ask, I literally say, do you want to see, and some patients may have grandkids. Do you want to see your grandkids, graduate from high school? Or
my mom talks about my kids all the time. She's like, she starts counting like she's 70. And she's like, she gets sad sometimes thinking about, my kids Myla's 4, or not even 4 yet. She's 3. And she gets sad sometimes thinking about, I might not get to see Myla Rose get, when I put it into those terms, it'll make them stop and think, because all the way up until now, we've been rationalizing things that hurt us. Like, I put up what was that post? It was something about BMI. It was one of the plastic surgery prep posts when I first started talking about it. And someone put in the comments, do you think that the BMI is basically racially biased because it's not taking into account the fact that Black women have a higher hip to something ratio and all this other stuff that sounded, it sounded good, but it didn't make a lot of sense. And I said, well, what I am considering is the fact that Black women, we may have all of that stuff that you said, but we also have the highest rate of death from cardiovascular disease, hypertension, diabetes, and cancers.
Right. And that ain't got nothing to do with your hips.
And that ain't got nothing to do with your hip ratio.
Yeah.
Like, we try to rationalize stuff to try to, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what I do know is that as a group, we die more from all of these different things. Right. And as a group, we're heavier than other groups.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
If everything don't have to be racial, you know, it's just, if it's killing us, then we need to do something.
Yeah.
But what I have learned, what I've discovered. So initially I used to just come at it from that angle.
Right.
The you know, just putting it into perspective, like you won't be 90 if you continue to be overweight like this.
Right.
You're in the obese zone, and so am I. So I ain't judging you, ladies. I'm obese too, okay? And that's why y'all be seeing me.
It has to come from a place of not judgment. Like nobody.
Right, it ain't no judgment, because I got the same problem. I'm not skinny toothpick lady to call you fat. Okay,
right. Absolutely.
And I don't say fat. I'm, you know, but
no, I know what you mean.
I call myself fat, but I probably shouldn't do that either, because that ain't helping. But you know, I'm not judging, because I have the same issue. So I think too, the reason why they listen sometimes, and sometimes they still be stuck, is because I'm coming at it from what the things that I've done that have worked to get me on the path to getting healthier and stuff. But what I've connected is that with myself, what I realized after I first started this transformation that God has been taking me through last year, I had an unhealthy relationship with food, and I was turning to food for things I was supposed to be turning to God for. So when I first started walking with Jesus last July 4th,
I remember that.
I started fasting too, and I had never fasted before, and I didn't say I'm going to fast.
Yeah.
It was just the stuff that was happening in my life was so intense and so painful that I was afraid that I would do something that would mess up my life, like kill somebody. And I was like, I need the Holy Spirit to swaddle me, to keep me from doing something I can't take back. And what happened, I started walking. I was like, how do I bathe my soul in the Holy Spirit? How do I bathe my soul in the Holy Spirit? And I was like, if I walk and listen to the Bible, then maybe that'll calm me down. So that's what I did, right? And then I didn't eat that day until after 3 o'clock. And so then, like, I just will wake up every day and start walking. It was a Saturday, 4th of July in 2020 was a Saturday. I walked for 4.5 hours on Saturday.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I didn't eat until 3. And then on Sunday, when I woke up, I slept for a few hours. I was feeling better and got a few hours of sleep, right? And child, when I woke up, my phone was full of more venom, child. And I was like,
you like, let me go back out and walk.
Child, I went back out. Do you know how long I walked?
6 hours.
I walked from 8 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Lord. People probably like, who is this lady out here walking?
This lady crazy, right? I would literally, so that day I went to the park and walked all day. But the other days I would be walking through my neighborhood. I lived on that golf course, and I would just be walking, and the security would be walking by. They'd see me at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'd be like, and then they'd drive by at noon, and I'd be
leaving.
And then they'd drive by at 2, and I'd be like, and every once in a while they'd pull over like, have you been walking this whole time?
And you
yes,
like,
honey,
yes.
Holy Spirit activate. I would just walk.
Yeah.
And then I would, like on the weekends, I would walk until I broke fast. Like I was like crazy walking to get and when I came out of that, I did that for 40 days.
Wow. I didn't know you did it that long.
It was 40 days straight that I was every single day. As soon as light was coming through my blinds, I would walk. And on days that I had surgery, I would only get to walk for like an hour. And I would walk
only an hour, light work.
An hour was not like, I would be
here like compared to my 20-hour walk.
Right, because on the average day, like on the days where I didn't have surgery, but I just had patients, I would walk for 3 hours in the morning. But what happened in that time is I was leaning on God. So I didn't have time to do all this eating.
Yeah.
I actually slept, because when I would go to bed at night, since I had done so much walking, fasting, I was reading the Bible, a lot of stuff was happening inside of me spiritually. When I slept, I actually rested.
Yes.
So then getting sleep helps your midsection.
Yep.
It helps your cortisol levels decrease.
It helps everything.
Yes. So I was sleeping.
Your immune system.
I was drinking a lot of water. Child, you know how much water I would go through on them walks? I had figured out all of the water refilling stations in my neighborhood. I would leave with one small short bottle of water because that would fit in my fanny pack. Okay. And I would stop and fill it up every time. And so I was drinking water more than I normally drank water, because most surgeons don't drink no water.
Right. Not during the day, not during cases, because who got time to go to the bathroom? Like,
anybody got time to go to the bathroom? See, so I was drinking water, I was fasting, I was actually, and I wasn't walking fast. Like I wasn't walking for exercise.
Like speed walking.
No,
You were just
I was
walking.
walking like I walked through the mall
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to be distracted by being tired or exhausted because I was trying to hear the word.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't walking for exercise.
Yeah.
But if you walk in 8 hours.
2 plus 2.
But so when I came out of the fast, when I came out of the 40 days, and I don't walk 8 hours no more. Like when I go walking now, I walk like an hour, maybe 2. But most of the time it's like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But that was when God was cleaning me out. And so I was just, I couldn't walk enough because the walking was attached to how I was hearing the word. So that's why I was walking, just to listen to the Bible. I wasn't walking to walk, if that makes sense.
No, I completely understand.
Yeah. And
if
so then the Lord was
being like this, you would have been like, oh, my foot kind of hurting.
Right.
Ooh, I'm out of breath. And you would have been completely not focused 100% on what you were listening to. Totally
exactly.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So then when I came out of the fast after that 40 days, and while I was doing that, I did like the Daniel. I don't like to call it the Daniel fast because it's not really fasting. That was Daniel's
That's
diet.
just what he was instructed to eat. Yes.
Right. That was his diet. When he fasted, he didn't eat. So I did the. That's the devil's way of tricking Christians into thinking they fasting when they ain't.
Right.
Because
you're eating food. It's the
you're eating. You're not fasting.
Plan. I don't know. But yeah, it's not a fast.
It's not a fast. It's a diet. So I did the Daniel diet for not the whole 40 days, probably for like half of it. For when I broke fast, that's why I would eat like Daniel. Yeah. And obviously I wasn't drinking any alcohol or anything like that. So when I came off the fast and I tried to go back to some of those things, I didn't get the same enjoyment from it. And if I would, like, say if I had a drink, if I was drinking because I was upset or I was trying to make myself sleep or for any reason that wasn't just social,
right.
It would make me sick.
Mm.
Now, if I was out to dinner with friends and had a drink, I'd be fine.
You're fine.
If I got in my feelings or my heart was hurting or something like that, like I'm sad or I'm trying to make myself go to sleep or something, and I would drink, it would make me sick. The Lord was showing me, no, you don't turn to.
I was like, no.
Yep. He said, you don't turn to that. You turn to me. Yeah. If I ate for those reasons, I wouldn't enjoy it. It wouldn't taste good. So then I was like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, that happened out now. I didn't got far outside of that window, and so now I can eat.
But you know what? It speaks to the fact that you heard very concretely from God. First of all, you sought God. You actively listened to God. You weren't just okay, I hear what you're saying, but I'm about to still go over here and do what I want to do because this is what I want to do. You saw God, you actively listened to God, and then you responded. Like, you know what I mean? You didn't like say, well, this makes me sick, but I'm just gonna go ahead and drink it anyway.
Yeah, what's the point? If you don't feel good, he was trying to show me, like, you don't eat something because you're upset or depressed.
Right.
You don't go try to get comfort out of food, you get comfort out of me.
Right. He is the comfort.
But even now, honestly, I just made a joke, but if I literally am like upset and I go try to eat something gluttonous, it don't taste good.
Right.
Or it'll show up like, if I order something, it'll be messed up.
He'll mess up the order. They left off your chicken. They left off the sauce. And you like...
Yeah. He won't let me do that. He catches me when I try to do that now. Where before, that's how I got... I didn't ever have weight problems.
Yeah.
This happened when I moved to Georgia, started this business. All kind of things happened in my family.
Yeah.
And so everything changed, and I handled, and I never was under that type of stress before, and I didn't know how to handle it. And so God had to push a reset, and he had to teach me.
Yep.
So I'll help bring these things. So I'll say to the ladies, like, why are you, I'll literally say, why are you killing yourself with food? And they'll look at me like that. I'm like, because that's what it is. Like, what is it that I'll ask them, like, what is it? What's happening that is not how you want it in your life? What is it that you feel like is missing? Like, I'll start helping them dive into where to start.
Yes. Because it's always deeper than food. But the thing is, people are not always aware of it. And
no, they're not.
Just like they're not aware that they may or may not be, whatever it is, that they're obese. That
they're not aware.
if you're not aware of it, because this is
Ain't
how
nothing
you've
about it.
always learned to cope, you may not see that it's.
They don't realize they're coping. They don't realize they're using it to cope. They don't know. So that's why I like to, I help them realize that so we can win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can't really help you if, let's say I do the surgery anyway. First of all, it's not going to look as good as it'll look if you get some of this weight off.
Right.
But whatever I do, you'll just eat through it. This is how people eat through. If you can eat through a gastric bypass, you can certainly eat through a tummy tuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people have to be made aware of what is causing them to do certain behaviors. And again, whatever it is. And I love what you do because you take it personally. Like, you're not just like, you could easily be out here just like, oh, you want the surgery? Okay, cha-ching. You want the surgery? And you like,
right.
I
just do it again next year. I'll do it on you again next year when you gain the weight back. Like,
right. And it's like, no. It's like, the thing is, and I'm sure you have colleagues, well, then you might not call them a colleague, but that are out there that are doing this stuff. And you just like, but clearly you don't. And the thing is, people are like, well, my doctor said he would just do it again. And you like, you don't realize. So your doctor's saying they're going to take you to surgery. And then when you gain weight back, they're going to take you and put you through the risks of a whole nother major surgery. That makes sense to you. But again, when you take the time to explain to people really what the concerns are, why weight loss is better before the surgery, all of those things, and you say it with grace and you say it without judgment and all of that, people usually take well to that because they're like
sharing my struggle really, with the same thing.
Yeah, when they're like, this person really cares about my actual health. They not just trying to get money for me, they actually care about what happens to my life 5 months, 6 months, a year from now, 10 years from now, even though that's not necessarily what she's saying, but her actions are showing me that she actually cares about.
And here's the other thing that's unique about plastic surgery. People want it so bad that they actually will lose the weight for the surgery when they wouldn't lose it for their heart.
Right.
They'll lose the weight for surgery when they won't lose it for their kids, child.
Yeah, that's true. I see, and more so, I know you see everything up close and personal from a plastic surgery standpoint, but you just see kind of in the world, social media, what people will literally like go through, not even weight loss, the way they will find the money to pay for stuff, and you like, no, you okay, well, I guess, but people will make it happen. Oh, somebody just said, wow, a light just went off. I never put it together. So now, well, amen.
Yeah, I've gotten people to quit smoking. Because I'm not operating. Now that I would not do.
Look, you're not about to have my wounds de-hissing.
Listen, I don't like complications. I don't like dealing with wounds. I don't like seeing you looking all sad when you just spent all of this money, went through all this pain, and you got a big gaping hole in your belly. That don't make me feel good. And smoking cigarettes is almost a guarantee that me and you gonna be seeing each other for a long time, and you're gonna be carrying that wound back around
for the wrong reasons. Look, you're gonna be seeing them for the wrong reasons.
Listen, come back for a facial, honey. I do not want to be doing wound checks for the next 6 months, child.
But it's amazing. But it's all, people are very the only word I can really use, and it's not in a necessarily disrespectful way, but people are vain. Like, people want to look good. They want their bodies to look good. So they like, I will do whatever it takes.
No, they actually won't do whatever it takes, but they will do surgery.
But I'm just saying, like you said, people will stop smoking for surgery, but they won't stop smoking because their blood pressure is high, and that would actually lead to a stroke, death, or a heart attack. But you gonna stop smoking because you want your tummy to look good for the next, while it's healing. I mean, it's just what it is. I've had people,
but you know what? You got to meet people where they are.
You do.
So with me knowing that this motivates them, then, I use that to try to help them. And then usually once they stop, some people go back. But I actually don't have a lot of smokers.
Right.
Like, that is so rare for a smoker. The women I attract for whatever reason aren't people who tend to smoke. Right. Every blue moon I'll get a smoker. It's really rare. Maybe it's so rare, literally maybe once a year.
Okay.
That rare. But the ones who I have met who smoke, they quit to get the surgery, and a lot of them didn't go back
because they probably because then they're thinking, well, if I start smoking while I'm healing, that's not good, so I'm just gonna stay out. And then by the time it's been time they're supposed to be healed, they're like, well, I don't need to go. Which honestly, that may have been part of their deliverance from that. From
but
that.
Now that we've added the Jesus piece to these different things, now that the Lord, because before I used to just like I would sit before I had gotten my connection with the Lord the way I have now, I would just sit and help them figure out. Because the other thing is people don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like people need like instructions.
Yes.
Like step by step.
Yep.
And so when it was just like lose some weight, they didn't know what to do. So before I used to like give them some of the things, the tricks that I use to get myself to not be overcome by food. Like if I really had a taste for something, like say I'm in the line at the grocery store and I see Kit Kats and I really want a Kit Kat, I'll get it, I'll break it in half, I'll throw the half in the trash before I take a bite, in the trash in the store, not when I get home.
Oh wow.
Because I ain't gonna dig it out the trash in Walmart, but if it's a fresh garbage bag at my house, I might reach back in there and grab it. Ain't nothing in there yet. But like I just kind of get rid of the stuff before I take a bite, or in restaurants I only will get half the serving. I don't take home leftovers. People be like, it's people who ain't got nothing to eat, you better take them leftovers home. Listen here, whether I take these leftovers home or not, that person out there you talking about still won't have anything to eat.
Right.
So I don't need to kill myself because this person in another state is hungry. But that's what we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Because that's what our parents used to tell us. It's like,
I got to take it home. You got to finish your plate. You got to clean your plate.
This is why we all dealing with this stuff. I'm like, no, I don't need to eat all 3,000 calories that this Cheesecake Factory people put on this plate, child. And in fact, at places like that, you need to just eat a third of it, maybe.
Girl, because those portions are
right. It'll feed a family of 5.
Hey, Ma. There's my mama.
Hey, Mom. Which one is your mom? L. King TV? Hi, Mom.
Look, somebody just said, that's me. I need a play-by-play. Well, that's what I was saying with skincare. Like, I will be left up to my own devices. I'm mixing and matching, probably applying stuff in the wrong order. But if I have like I still got my little thing on my mirror, the 1, 2, 3, 4, but whatever the steps are, I get my steps together. But yeah, but again, I love what you do. And the thing is, the people that are supposed to come to you are going to find their way to you, and they are going to want to be people that hear you talk about God and pray.
Yeah, it's literally that's all that comes to me.
While they're in the office, and when they're on the table and having surgery, they're gonna be like, Doc, please say your prayers before you cut.
Girl, we pray in the pre-op.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's
they be like, where my prayer? If I forget, they be like, where my prayer? I'm like, come on, girl, let's pray. Everybody grab hands. Let's go. You want to pray? You want me to pray? Like, what we doing here?
Through prayer.
But you know what? The people who come to me were sent.
Exactly.
They'll say it's the same story. I was praying. I didn't know if I should get plastic surgery. Because a lot of times people, when they're Christians, they're like, am I even allowed to get it?
Right.
Is it a sin?
Right.
And so I was praying about it, and then a video of yours came up. I never even knew you. Like, they're like, I never even knew there were black plastic surgeons, right? So they'll pray, and then I'll pop up, and then they're like, I don't care if I get surgery. The only person that's doing it is her. Or they'll say, the Holy Spirit told me if I get surgery, it's got to be you.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. So the people who come to me, they are ripe for activation and for redirection. Like the Lord sent them there for that reason, because usually the food is just one part of it. Many times it's just like, it's major things in their bloodline that needs to be healed. It's curses on their families that need to be broken, and they were the ones chosen and they don't even realize it. A lot of, what's really interesting? A lot of my patients are prophets. They're like Jonah, though, the kind that's
right. They was like, no.
Right. And I'll start.
You like, let me save you before you get tossed over in this ocean.
A lot of my patients I'll literally we'll get into a deep conversation and I'll just say, do you hear God? Oh yeah. I've been hearing him since I was little. It is so, they'll be like, oh yeah, all the time. Or some of them will say, I used to, he stopped talking. Or things like that. It's so many of my patients are prophets. It's unbelievable.
And you like, he stopped talking or you stopped listening.
Well, because the thing is, sometimes God will go silent on people
That's
if they're
true.
disobedient for a long time, or they are ignoring him. He'll get quiet. He doesn't
That's
force
what I'm
himself.
saying. Like, if you're not actively engaging, then he might be like,
He
well,
stops.
okay, you have free will. Go
But
ahead.
here's the thing. You know what else happens? Sometimes they'll start drinking and stuff like and living wild lives because they're trying to not hear him.
Mm-hmm. Drown him out. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah.
So
you need to do obviously anonymously because of HIPAA, but like of people telling you their stories like that.
Oh God, there's so many stories.
That's what I'm saying.
And you know what's interesting? Because I get so many of them, like literally in a course of a day, I'll have like 3 or 4 life-shifting, spirit-filled conversations with people that are at least an hour or longer encounters.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have 3 or 4 of those a day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because I will literally, by the end of the night, I won't remember really anything any of us talked about.
You just remember the encounter.
Yeah. And so, a lot of times people will come back like, remember so-and-so, so-and-so. And I'm thinking like.
You like.
Because I don't
refresh
put
my
those
memory.
things. I don't put those things in their chart. I put the medical stuff in their chart. I don't put like, their deep dark secrets in their chart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
it's interesting you say that because, like, just slightly off, there are certain things I do put in charts because usually in OB-GYN, if women are dealing with like domestic violence, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll put if it's like medically driven, like if it's
right.
I'll
not
put
like
I'll
random.
put, but not like in a spiritual way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I won't be like she a prophet and all this business.
No. You like God told her.
God had told her.
Well, I got you, but I will do that because they always say sometimes the only place it's ever been documented is in a medical chart, and if there's proof or they need some kind of a restraining, all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff is in there. But yeah, it's really interesting. I tell people all the time, I'm no longer at the job I was at before because God told me I could leave, and I was like, I don't got to work like this. And God, I literally was walking into work one day, and I was like, God.
Did my phone can't wait a minute? Okay, there you go.
I was gonna say, I was like, you gonna have to tell me specifically if I can leave this job. And I was walking into work August 24th of 2019, and God was like, your light has outshone this place. And I was like, boom, and I literally activated. But I tell people all the time, I missed working there because it wasn't just a job. Like, it truly was a ministry. And I don't think people realize, I don't know if I'm frozen or you're frozen. You look frozen on my end.
You look frozen to me. I don't know which one it is either.
And I can hear you though. Can you guys hear us and see us? Okay. As long as they can hear us, that's most important. But, I'm like, I don't think people always realize that. Well, and it's not every physician, but this can absolutely be a ministry. And you hope to align with somebody that is of like mind. If you are going to see a doctor or you're the patient, if you're the doctor talking to patients, you want to be able to connect with people in those ways. But it really is a ministry. I've had so many people have different breakthroughs, but it's like what you were saying before, when you're asking the questions and you somebody said, I can hear you both but blurred. Okay. I don't know what's going on. It was perfect before.
I don't know. It's Instagram being a hater.
Yeah. You know what? It's the enemy being a hater. It ain't even Instagram. He like, wait, y'all talking about God in medicine? Right. Let me blur this up real quick.
That's what he's doing.
But look, as long as y'all can hear us, the word shall go forth. Okay.
That's right.
But like, people don't realize, like for me, obviously some people come in for very routine things. Somebody come in for a really easy prenatal visit with really no issues. Obviously you have your visit, it's a good visit. But some people come in, especially in OB-GYN, with so much trauma. I mean, people come in all fields with trauma, but so much trauma, abuse, sexual abuse, and all of those parts of people's past ultimately can lead to a variety of kind of coping mechanisms. So
Yeah.
overeating, drinking, drugs, and people don't always realize
sometimes
that
some
I'm
of the
doing
things
this
people,
because I was abused in my past. I'm
yes,
overeating because I was raped when I was,
yes,
however, and I was abused from the time I was 4 to I was 14. And nobody ever really got me counseling. So I've been dealing with this on my own my whole life. And they're not connecting that to their present set of circumstances. But I would literally be connecting the dots. I'm like, this person ain't about to leave up out of here and we not at least discuss it, delve into it, have you come back and for a follow-up, let's see what's going on. But people don't always realize that you have some people ministering during these sessions who actually genuinely care, who aren't just like, okay, all right, well, everything sounds fine, everything looks good, you're testing normal, okay, see you in a year or whatever. It's like, no, you ain't about to leap up out here the way you came. Now, I'm not saying I'm about to just change you, but what does God
no,
say?
it's like an
One man
activation.
plants
It's like
the seed, another man
it just
waters, and God provides
catalyzes.
the increase.
Yeah, it's an activation.
Yeah.
It just catalyzes. Like it's a
Yeah.
process, but I'm still being transformed. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But God uses the encounter to like activate something and redirect. You know what I mean?
Yep,
That's what
absolutely.
it's for. I've had people where this was a really God blows my mind all the time. I had this one patient, and when her lab, I make everybody get medical clearance from their from their primary care doctor, because people will lie about their history to get the surgery. Sure. So if I have their primary care doctor clear them, they can't lie about their history for the last 10 years.
Right.
So this lady, her labs came
risking it all.
Girl, listen, they be lying, honey. They be wanting that surgery, child.
Jeez.
So this is how I worked around that. So this one lady, they drew her labs. You gotta have labs within 30 days of surgery. And her labs came back, and I've never seen anything like it, and they made no sense. And they didn't make any sense. Like her labs were everything was all jacked up, and it didn't tell. You know how like when people's labs, when they're bad, usually tell some sort of a story.
Right.
It points you. It made no sense.
All over the place.
I was like, did the machine mess up? Was the reagent bad? Like that's how crazy it was, right?
Right.
You having those kind of thoughts. And I'm like, we can't do your surgery with all of this. We got to figure out what's happening with you. This ain't right. Like it made me really uneasy. I'm not even kidding you. This person's sister randomly sent me a DM a few days later. I didn't even know it was her sister. Her sister starts talking about all of this stuff. And I remember thinking when I saw the lady's labs, and she just kind of like, I was like, I thought it was like somebody doing like it was witchcraft or something. I had that thought, and I ain't say nothing because I'm like, I don't sound crazy. So let it go. Her sister randomly sends me a DM in the middle of the night one night, and I was woke, and I didn't know it was her sister. And we started talking, and she tells me about some witchcraft stuff going on around her, and she's not sure what to do. And then as we're talking, she says something about, she mentions the name of, tell me that her sister is getting surgery with me. And I'm like,
right. And you like,
now the stuff she was dealing with was something that would affect their whole family. And I was like, I literally thought witchcraft.
Right.
So then when I spoke, I didn't tell the two that I had any communication with the two of them. When the girl got her labs drawn again, because I'm like, just get them redrawn because they so wacky that maybe it was just some sort of mistake. They wasn't. It was real. And when I talked to her the next time, I gently brought up, is the possibility of that. And then she was like, basically it sparked something in her. So she ended up we postponed her surgery. I ain't hear from her for like 6 weeks or something. When she came back around, she had been studying, trying to figure out how to break the stuff off of her, with the Bible and all of that kind of stuff. And when she got her labs drawn again, they were normal.
Wow.
There was no physical medical intervention because none of it made any sense.
Right. It wasn't like you could say your sodium is low.
Right. Let's go
fix
it. It was all of it was all over the place. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. And so then after that, I got like, every time the Lord would like teach me a new thing, he'll send a cluster of people with that issue and see if I can recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
So then he started showing me the difference between like natural things that really happen in medicine, like regular, and like stuff that was attached to supernatural issues.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, I mean, and the times that I've mentioned it to the people, because I'm always hesitant to say stuff like that.
Right.
Because, you know, it's like,
you don't know where people are. And
I'm still like, is this really, am I crazy?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, because I'm so new in all of this stuff, right? And so, but every time he's like pushed me to mention stuff like that, the person is like, I was thinking that. Whenever God tells you to say something and you're afraid to say it, he didn't already drop that seed in their head. And so then when you say it, they're like, that's what I was thinking. And they didn't want to think they were crazy. But when you said it and they think you saying, then they run off and they get to learning and doing what God told them to do. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's been a few situations like that where people were healed simply by understanding that the issue was not a natural issue. And then I'm like, listen, you got to walk with Jesus, honey. You got to walk with Jesus so he can tell you what to do, because I don't know what to do.
I did it. I know what he did for me.
Yes. My answer is, I'm not like, well, you need to go and do this and do that. I don't know what you need to do.
Right.
I know that you need to, the only thing I know you need to do is get with the Lord so he can tell you, because it's different for everybody. We got different stuff.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's been really interesting what God has been doing in me and in my practice and in my relationships with my patients and the women he's been sending me. It's been really amazing. Like, I literally, he drops my jaw every day. But I do know that the people that he sends to me are usually, they're leaders. And they might be leaders who have been running. And he's like, listen, I need you to get on this thing because we got work to do, because God is moving right now. And so he's trying to get all his people lined up. And so it's really where God has taken us. We all need to be healthy to endure it physically.
Yeah.
When God have his prophets journeying in the Bible, they were journeying. You can't be all broke down like that. We saying, Lord, expand my territory, and we're not physically fit to handle an expanded territory.
Look, you can't walk a mile. How you want your territory to be 30 miles?
Right. How your territory 30 miles and you can't walk one? That's what we be praying for.
The word, yeah.
I'm just saying. So I'm like, I want my territory to be expanded. Here's the other thing, not even from a physical standpoint, mentally, which is important, but if you ask him to expand your territory, grow your business, all this other stuff, and you won't allow him to train you up for it, this big old business that you are asking for will crush you.
Come on.
He's trying to teach us. He's trying to teach us all the things to make it so that we can be successful in what we're praying for. So you need to be
faithful over little. He'll make you steward over much. But
if you can't hear from him, you can't sustain it.
And like you said, not just the physical, but also the mental, the faith aspect. Like, you can't. God can make anything easy, obviously, but faith without works is dead. So what you're trying to get to, there's going to be some work involved. Now, God can make your work easy and make you just be like, boom, and you do this and that, and it's moving. It might be more challenging. Who knows? Everybody's journey is going to be a little bit different. But at the same time, you have to be able to be willing to endure whatever test it is. If God has you come to something, and if it's God, not like is the enemy having you do it, like that's a whole nother situation, but if God has you do something, that lesson is to carry you and take you somewhere else, or that lesson is to be there. So when you encounter XYZ down the road, you're like, oh, I know how to deal with this. I went through that. I do this. I'm not going to react the way I used to react, because that didn't get me anywhere. I reacted that way for 10 years. It didn't work. It didn't work. It only get me in more and more trouble and more hell and more this. I finally learned this lesson. Oh, boom. this same lesson coming up on me again. God about to try and see how I'm gonna respond.
That's
it don't
exactly
even phase
it.
me. One of my favorite verses is, and I remember when I read this several years ago, I'm like, ooh, I want to be like that. But it's the verse, and I can't think of the verse. I'm good with memorizing verses.
What's it about? I found
they
it.
go, look, I'm like, I'm good about memorizing verses, but not always the
That's all
exact
right.
scripture
What
where
it
they
would
come
say,
from.
I found it.
But it's the verse that says, basically they're like a tree that's planted by rivers of water. Like they will not be moved by basically a drought. It is a song too, but they basically won't be moved by a drought or when the sun is scorching and all of that kind of stuff. And I was like, I want to be like that. I want to be so rooted in God that no matter what comes my way, I am unmovable because God is unmovable. And if my faith is in him, then my mama says Psalms. Yes, it's in
It's
Psalms.
Psalms 1:3. It's Psalms 1:3.
But yeah, like somebody said Isaiah.
It's probably there too. It's a lot of them scriptures being
Psalm,
more than one place. It's Psalms 1:3. It might be in Isaiah also.
It could be in multiple places.
Yeah, some of them scriptures be in 2 places.
No, it
Psalms 1:3.
But I love that verse, and we have to get to that point where, well, at least for me, like to get to the point where like not too much bothers me. Like I'm like, but it's growth. Like you didn't just get like that overnight.
Nope.
But we have to be willing to understand that there's going to be some things we go through that, like you said, it's not physical, but that may be mental, that you have to process, that you have to learn and figure out, so that when your territory is expanded down the line, you've learned those lessons that
you know what, Kiarra, you just said something.
You are in that capacity.
You know what? So I used to be trying to learn and figure out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now I actually don't try to figure out anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I do? You know what I do? Because sometimes God will change it up. Yes, if I started off like that and it served me well, then I got to a point where he's like, nope. Now, when you get to a certain point, what all I need to do is figure out. All I need to do is get myself in a position to hear God's instruction. So I don't have to figure it out. I just need to get where I hear him.
Yeah.
He can tell me. I remember one time, this was like 2 months ago. And it wasn't an argument because I literally sat quietly and let the person unload.
Right.
It hurt my feelings. I was sad. I cried a little bit. I did not retaliate back because I have already resolved that I won't use my tongue as a weapon against anybody that I love.
Yeah.
No matter what they do. Right? So I was quiet and it hurt me. Briefly. I sought the Lord. I started praying and I started looking for his answers after the prayer was up. And within a few hours, the Lord took me to a scripture. Hold on, actually. Dang, it's in this phone.
I know. You're like, I can't pull it up.
Hold on. All right, I'm back. Okay. Now I had to remember. Took me to a scripture that basically said, let them do that. Let them do what they do. Whatever, like let them do what they do. Just leave them. It's not gonna. Basically, what they're doing is not gonna stand. Because if I'm not in it, it's not gonna stand. So basically, he gave me comfort and release. Like just let the person float off. Whatever they doing is not gonna stand because I'm not in it. Just let me just. It did not even take 3 days, and the person doubled back, was apologetic. The stuff fell apart. All of it.
Right, and you didn't even have to do anything. But like
I did nothing.
And wait, but if you had reacted that way, it could have easily changed the course of your relationship.
It always does. That's what I learned. I learned that when I would respond or react, actually it's reacting. When I wait for the Lord, that's responding. Yeah. When you pop off in the moment, that's reacting. Reacting is never good. But there was times where I didn't seek God and I just did what I knew based on past experiences. And it seemed right and logical. And I would have gotten the support of anybody I told the story to.
Right. Absolutely.
But those things were wrong and changed the whole course of my life. And they didn't seem like big things then. Like, it didn't seem like it was that significant of a decision. And they were extremely significant decisions when I look back. I'm like, dang. And it was like, you know, when I realized how much it changed the course of my life, the trajectory of my life in a way that I didn't like, I'm like, it kind of scared me. It made me afraid to make decisions on my own without God telling me what to do.
Right. Yeah.
So now I literally don't do anything. You might not have caught it when I talked about a few months ago when SWAT came into my house in the middle of the night.
Oh no.
Girl, listen.
I'm gonna have to get that story up. What?
Listen, I'm in here asleep. It's 4 a.m. like a normal person. It was a Thursday morning. I had surgery. I was supposed to have surgery. Kids had school. You know, normal stuff.
Normal day.
Bang, 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 bang on the door. And I'm like, who the hell banging on my door at 4 a.m?
Right.
So I peek or I creep over to the living room and peek around the corner.
Peek outside from the side.
And I could see them, but they didn't see me. And it was a dude on the porch. And I was like, oh God. So I was like, I need my wig and my gun.
Not just the gun. You're like, I need my wig.
Listen here, if they was gonna do something to me, I ain't want them to be fat of me looking like Celie, child. I creep back into my room. I don't know why I'm tipping. They outside. They can't hear me. They had
Lord.
And I go for my gun, and literally as I'm reaching for my gun, Holy Spirit says no gun. I'm like, no gun? You the one who told me to get the gun last year. Now I got this random man standing on my porch at 4 a.m. beating on the door, and I'm in here by myself with these kids. What you mean no gun? No gun. I put my wig on. He ain't say no wig. He just said no gun.
Listen, he didn't say no wig.
He ain't say no wig. Okay. I put my wig on.
That's hilarious.
And I called somebody. So I'm like, someone needs to know that I got all of this going on. I don't need the kids to wake up and find mama raped and dead in the living room. Right. This is what I'm thinking, right? So, and then I go back. They start beating on the door again. I go back to the front door, and it's like, it's SWAT. No, he's like, it's Fulton County Sheriff's Department. And I'm like, what? And I'm in an Airbnb. That's a whole other story. I ain't gonna get into that. I've been in an Airbnb since June. So I'm thinking like, you don't know I'm here. They ain't coming for me. No one even knows that I'm here. This is Airbnb. I'm like, it's an Airbnb. He's like, open the door, man.
Girl, like you're trying to negotiate through the door.
Right through the door. He's like, open the door. And I was like, but it's an Airbnb. He's like, we have a warrant for this address. I said, how do you arrest the house? Right. How you got a warrant for an address?
Right. I never heard of that.
Me neither. Okay. And he put his badge up to the door. I said, this Atlanta, how I know that's you real? Like, you could be fake. Police car drives up on the front lawn. Sirens blaring. Open the door. Like,
okay. Now they using a megaphone. Oh my God.
Sirens going. It's 4 a.m.
Your kids wasn't they up now.
Kids ain't came out.
They didn't wake up. Okay, good.
I'm like, I gotta open the door. I ain't got no other choice. They talking about beating the door in. They like, if you don't open the door, we're gonna tear it down. I'm like, fine. I open the door. All of these men swarm in. They go open the back door. A bunch of them come in from the back. It's like 30 dudes in my house. And I'm crying. I'm literally.
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus.
They went and checked every room. They didn't tear up nothing. They just looked in the doors. They didn't even go in the rooms. I think they realized that this wasn't what they was looking for before I even opened the door, but they had to do it. And so they were in and out in like 5 minutes. It was fast. And the house looked like no one was ever here.
Okay.
But after it was over, I was crying. I called the owners of the house, like, hey, they were mortified, like, what? And apparently whoever they were looking for, they had they had sheets of addresses with this one person's name on it and all these different addresses, and this was one of them. So they basically spent that night going to all these addresses trying to find this person. So I went and prayed.
Because that person probably at some point had been there.
Right, because it's an Airbnb.
Right.
So I immediately, when they left, and I immediately got in prayer. I was like, and you know what I did first? I started thanking God for all the ways that I saw him show up in that situation. I'm like, because if I would have been going on my own devices, I would have got killed. Because I would have showed up to the front door with SWAT with a gun, and they'd have laid me out flat. I would have been dead. Yeah. If I didn't listen to them, because I was
first, ask questions later. That's what it would have been. Shoot first, ask questions later.
And I would have been dead. So I was like, I thank the Lord for telling me not to take the gun up. I thank the Lord for allowing those men, even though they came in, they did not tear up nothing. My children slept through it, I thought. They actually didn't sleep through it. The only person who slept through it was Myla Rose, but the boys acted like they slept through it. And when the police left, and after I finished praying, when I opened my eyes, I saw Bennett standing at my door. And he was like, Mommy, I saw the police. I said, were you scared? He was like, no. I just laid there and kept my eyes closed. And then Bradley, he said, Bradley didn't come out. He told me when he got up for school, Mommy, I saw the police is out there. I said, were you scared? No. God told me to keep my eyes closed. But everybody around me was like, Myla, you need to move. I'm like, I'm not moving into a house until the Lord tells me to move into a house, because he's the one who told me to move out of the house I was in. He told me to do this. Now, a few weeks later, the Lord released me, and I'm looking for my house now. I'm looking for a house now. But at that point, he didn't tell me that. And when everybody started saying, you need to move, I was like, I'm not going nowhere until he tells me to. And you know what? The next night, do you know we all slept like babies? I wasn't scared, because I knew the Lord showed me all the places where he was to make sure that we were straight. Yes. And that, I wouldn't have responded like that 6 months ago or a year ago. But the thing is, where he's taking me, he's told me where I'm taking you. I don't need you. I need you to be so firm in me, and not, you can't be getting shaken by all this crap that's going on around us. There's no stability if I can be moved by the stuff that's going on around us, because we are living in a world that's full, just rocky and shaky, all just.
Look, so you gotta be like that tree that's planted by the water. It don't matter what happened. Those roots are so deep that the roots are always nourished. The roots are always watered. And so it could be 3 billion degrees up on the top of a tree. And the tree is like, I'm the only tree out in this forest that still is green because my roots are extra deep. I don't know what y'all other trees is doing. But it's true. It's so true. And my thing is, one thing that I've definitely learned is that like when God says do something, you better do it. Man, listen. You can wait all you want to, and that can be not necessarily something bad is going to happen. But say you're in anticipation and you're in expectation of whatever you're waiting for. You gonna miss whatever blessing he had because you thinking it's supposed to come this way, and I don't want to do that because blah blah blah. And it's like, well, no, if you had done what God said, well, then the blessing was on the other side of that door. You would have knocked on, but you was too busy thinking that's not what it was supposed to look like.
Listen,
so when
the
God
Lord
be
was
telling
me
stuff, I'll be like,
listen.
I mean, it ain't, not all the time, but I'll be trying as much as I can.
Trying real hard.
If God tells me to do something, I'm getting it done. If I hear something, I'm like, okay, I'm doing that. If he say, nope, don't say that, don't do that, I ain't doing that, because I don't know. You don't know. God knows everything. He is the Alpha, the Omega. He is the beginning and the end. And he knows what our story looks like from the beginning to the end. I don't know what my story look like tomorrow, but I trust God with my life, and I walk by faith and not by sight. And if he's a lamp unto my feet and a light into my path, then you know, and like, I remember when I got fired from my job, girl, I was due on a Monday, and I found out that they were going to be closing our practice the Wednesday before. So like 5 days before. And I'm like 8,000 weeks pregnant.
Oh my
But
Lord.
that literally changed the trajectory of my life in an amazing way. I didn't know it at the time. And I've certainly grown a lot in many areas since then. But what happened, I remember when it basically happened. And I was like, I literally said, I was like, okay, God. I literally said, you must have something better down the line. If I'm getting fired 4 days before I'm about to have a baby. Well, ultimately that led to me being off for I was basically off for almost 2 years with Kai. And it was the best thing ever. When do doctors take that much time off? Like,
never.
Rarely. Like, it may happen every now and then. You might have one
so rare
here or there, but it's so rare. But it was a complete reset for me. It was one, I got to be with my baby. I didn't miss stuff.
Which is the most important thing.
The most important thing. Girl, when she turned 12 weeks, which is when I would have gone back.
You know, I remember, there's no way.
I remember thinking, I can't leave my baby. Like, and I was about to leave her with my mama. I wasn't even leaving her with a stranger. Right. And I was like, oh my God, I will be leaving her. God knew what I needed in my motherhood and what I couldn't do. And he probably was like, girl, you ain't gonna want to be leaving your baby.
You ain't so he made right. So, like, let me just handle this for her.
Literally. But I remember thinking when I first found out, I was like, okay, God. I was like, you must have something better. But ultimately, I was off for 2 years. I ended up going back to a job that at the time was perfect. I didn't work weekends. I didn't have call. I didn't have a pager. I worked 3 days a week. It was literally perfect.
Oh, that is perfect.
Until it just no longer worked. But that was the job that I told you. I was like, God, I'm not just leaving no job. You're going to have to tell me when I can leave, because I'm not about to just quit. Like, you ain't tell me to do that. But that's when he told me, your light has outshone. Right. I heard it in my head. Your light has outshone this place, and I left. But then also during that time that I was off with Kai, that's when I started like doing my blogging stuff and like figuring that all out, which has ultimately led, like, I haven't worked now in 2 years again by choice. And again, God, like, I left my job before the pandemic began. God knew what was coming down the line. I didn't know what was coming down the line, but God was like, I'm about to protect you from this. Like, when I look back, I'm like, God was protecting me from being in this situation, like working and dealing with my daughter and all that kind of stuff. And so, but we have to be, and this goes back to kind of the point of our life. We have to be in tune. Like, I could have just been like, my plan was to go back to work in March 2020 before we found out about the pandemic. Right. And then I was like, oh.
Look, your plan was to go back to work right when the world closed down.
I was like, I guess I'm not going back to work, huh? But again, God sustained me in all these times that I had taken off work for here, and now I'm off work again, because I've been able to use my medical degree and partner with brands, and I've been able to do these different things. But it's because I was like, God, what you telling me to do? I ain't about to just be out here all willy-nilly. And I literally, it was a true faith journey. But I was never scared. I was never like, oh my God, Lord, what I'm going to do. I mean, right, God,
because you were a tree planet.
Yeah, you said what?
Because you were a tree planet.
Right, exactly. And so
you don't have fear. Yeah.
And outside of, I mean, certainly if somebody passes away or something like that, that's sad, you know. But stuff doesn't really, like, if stuff changes plans, okay. I don't let the emotions get to me like, oh, I can't believe they did that. It's like, right. Okay. And I always try and extend so much grace, because
me too.
At the end of the day, it's never, you never really know what other people are going through. You never know. They can tell you, but what really goes on behind closed doors, you never really know. So I try and always be like, I always try and see stuff from other, I mean, unless somebody's just truly egregious.
Plus, you know what?
At the end of the day, it's just like, whatever.
And just like we said at the beginning, half the time people don't even know what they're going through. They don't understand it themselves. They're moving and very behaving true. And don't even realize why they're doing it. So
very true.
Me having an understanding of that, I don't really get mad at people, even when people do real jacked up stuff to me.
Right, right,
That don't
right,
mean I'm gonna be being their
right.
best friend, but I'm not like I
No,
forgive them and I
absolutely.
release it and I pray for them.
Yep, yep, yep. And you don't hold it like literally.
No.
It's like that happened. Okay, let it go, and then move on. And then sometimes, not all the time, but God will show you. You'll find out this person was dealing with this, this, and this. And you'll be like, oh, that's what was going on. It was never about me. They may have
Ain't had nothing
acted
to
a
do with
certain
me.
way towards me, but it was never truly. It was never truly about me. I was the punching bag, you know what I mean, or whatever the
Yeah.
case may have been. But like you said, people don't always know what they're going through. But I think it's so great. Like I said, what you're doing, what we get to do, if God has led you that way, and if you're a physician or whatever job you have, that you really are sensitive to God's spirit to be able to know how to ask questions, dig deeper, and really show people, because some women I've met have been so hopeless, so down. And sometimes I've just been there to literally instill hope and be like, look, girl, it's going to be okay. Like, I know that this is what's in front of you and this is what you see, and the situation looks really, 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 really bad. But guess what? These are some things, maybe you can do this or this. Your life isn't over. You know what I mean? But that's why you have been planted in this season, because you're going to be able to relate and talk to people who are going through this particular journey, and they need somebody like that. They need somebody that's not just there trying to just, swipe a credit card or cash their check to cut on them, but don't really have their best interest at heart. Like we have to bring it full circle because we
I
went
know.
all
I'm
over with this
excited.
conversation.
It's a lot, and that's what we're gonna
It
be getting
is.
into for the 6 weeks of this program. And you are welcome to do it along with us if you want to.
I might need to come on in.
Yeah, I'll put you in all the stuff. You can join us when you feel like it.
This is the other thing that it will provide people is accountability. Everybody needs accountability. Like whether you're accountable to God, whether you get convicted because God told you to do this and you didn't do it, and you like, ooh, God, let me repent and ask forgiveness because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And not that people will be asking for forgiveness within the group, but accountability is good, especially when people are like they see they're not alone. They see that other people are striving towards the same goal, whether, like you said, it's to get plastic surgery or just to lose weight or just
it's
become
a lot
more
of
healthy.
Half the people in it aren't getting surgery.
Yeah, it's just they need this, having that support system. Nobody wants to feel alone, but having that support system means so much. But if your end goal does happen to be getting plastic surgery,
you're going to be safe and
yes,
you're going to lose weight physically and spiritually to be prepared for it, because this helps you make safer decisions. Because a lot of the women who lose their lives trying to get plastic surgery, that the spiritual part that I promise the Lord warned them to not to do it.
Yeah.
I promise you that the Holy Spirit tried to stop them. That's why we have to you have to be able to discern God's voice and listen to it when you hear it. And the process, the 6 weeks that we'll be together, we'll be forming this habit of seeking God together. We will be cleaning up our way of eating, get into a habit of physically exercising and also walking. The walking is not part of the exercise routine. It's separate. It's just a way to just take time to yourself and connect with God. And people are like, well, what do you read when you read the Bible? Because folks are like, I don't even know what to read. Guess what? You don't have to figure it out, because I laid out for 40 days what you need to read, which scriptures you need to find. And I actually kind of, the way I have it set up, you'll be forced to open up your Bible. And the assignments each day are not long, but it will get you comfortable with opening up your Bible, and it's going to lead the order of the scriptures is going to help reveal to you the areas that God is trying to work with you on, and some of these things that you may not even realize are issue. It literally, I'm walking you through getting to know yourself and see yourself the way God sees you. And when you come out the other side, you will have formed a habit of courting with the Lord.
Yeah.
So once you do that, the rest of the stuff will be fine because you'll be able to hear him.
Mm-hmm.
You get in relationship with
Mm-hmm.
him. It's like when
Mm-hmm.
something crazy go on in your life, like if you're married, the first person you call is your husband to tell him, right?
Yeah.
Or your best friend. Like when something, if it's good, bad, if it's whatever, you call.
Yeah.
And so what it's gonna teach you to do is lean on God in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of when you're ready to celebrate, thinking you need to go out and have some 3,000 calorie meal and some shots. We can still do that, but it'll put it into it'll make it so that you don't need to eat 3,000 calorie and have no bunch of shots. You can still do that and enjoy fellowship with your friends.
Right.
But you got your celebration with the Lord. Or if you're like literally, it teaches you how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The people who have done, because I just basically was individually walking people through how to do it, holding people's hand through doing it over the last year. And once you get through that first 6 weeks, like that's it. It takes like 3 weeks to form a habit. So now you've been doing it for 6.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to a point where you're like, when you get stressed out or you need answers, you're like, I gotta walk.
Mm-hmm.
You get out there,
my Bible, right?
Yeah, and you start, and the Lord starts speaking to you, and you like, this is how you solve problems now, is you get to walking.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta walk. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
walk. Like so many ways, I gotta walk. I had to walk. I'm like, girl, don't be walking at 11 o'clock at night. Like it's like air, it's like, so we'll go through the process together. You don't have to figure out anything. All you have to do is commit and show up for the 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's showing up for yourself.
Yep.
It's showing up for your family. It's showing up for your prayers, because a lot of times we're praying for stuff for years and we're literally working against God as he's trying to give it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So now you'll get to work with God to get your prayers answered.
Mm-hmm.
For your loved ones that you've been praying for years. For yourself.
Right.
For your children. So anyway, you are welcome to do it with us. I would love that. You can teach us some vegetarian recipes.
Yes.
Dr. Amaka said she would grace my.
When people realize like you can eat well as a vegetarian or a vegan. I'm not vegan, but I try and like be more plant-based.
Yeah.
When people like because people are like, what do you eat? I'm like, I eat everything. I just don't eat meat. Like there's a lot you can eat and eat well, but people are conditioned to do what they've always done, which is sometimes what has ended them up in whatever situation that they've been in. They've always coped how they've coped, with food or drugs or alcohol or with the wrong relationships or whatever.
And or so sex.
Yes, people have to break those old habits, but they also have to be taught how to break them. Like how you expect a little kid to tie their shoe if nobody ever taught them? So it's like I said, I love when I first saw you post this, I was like, oh my God, Myla, this is viewer text. I was like, this is brilliant. Because people need to be accountable. People need to know they're not alone. People need the steps. Like sometimes people just don't know what to do. They have been seeking and searching and wanting help, but it's just never quite felt right, or they just literally don't know what to do. So it's like, I literally have this all laid out for you. These are the steps you need to take so you can get your life back in order, so you can get to this end goal of whatever it is, whether it's surgery or whatever, safely and in better mental, spiritual, and physical health overall.
You see what your mom wrote? That's what I said the first time I came over your house to eat in college.
Y'all, I've been vegetarian. Look, I've been vegetarian since
long before it was in style.
It was just 24 years on Christmas. Very briefly, I got food poisoning Christmas of 1997. And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much done with meat. I went back to school after Christmas break. I don't think I had met you then because I was a freshman. I think I met you sophomore year. Y'all, me and Myla been knowing each other. And you were making
me, and you made me omelets, and I was like, I don't like omelets ever since.
Listen, my mama is and when you told me, I was like, this is how my mom makes omelets. You were like, I love your omelets. Can you please?
I ain't had an omelet better than yours ever. And I'm not just saying that. Good.
But yes, I forgot about that, Ma. But people do ask. I will tell people, I'm like, if you come, we just had our like Christmas traditional dinner yesterday. We kind of just moved some stuff around. My mom usually makes gumbo on Christmas Eve. She's been doing that for 40 plus years. But I'm trying to remember what happened that we switched it around. But we ended up doing gumbo on Christmas, and then on Christmas evening. And I was like, I want some food. I'm like, we have real food. So we had green beans and potatoes, sweet potatoes, black-eyed peas, macaroni, broccoli casserole dressing.
Right, that's nice.
Apple salad, potato. So we had a ton of stuff. There was no meat. Right, everybody got sick that year, Mom. There was no meat. Well, no, there was some fish. But growing up, my dad's been a vegetarian since he was 18 in college. My dad is now 72. And so he mostly only eats fish. So growing up, we didn't eat a lot of meat. Like we easily had meals with no meat for dinner growing up, like multiple times a week. And it wasn't anything to us.
And I felt like I would feel like I didn't have a meal if it didn't have meat in it. And so the thing is, and I probably said that to you before when we were in college, because I was like, it's not a meal with no meat. And so when I went through my fast last year, and I did the Daniel diet, I can eat a meal without meat. Like the word is like, how you gonna say it's not a meal if I gave it to you? He was like, we not making meat an idol. You know, he's not against meat. Shoot, he was feeding Elijah meat before Elijah went and did that thing on Mount Carmel. He's not against meat, but then, you know, let's not get carried away to it, is what he said.
Right. Well, and the thing is, I tell patients all the time, I have a lot of patients that would have fibroids, really heavy periods. And I would always tell them, listen, I probably can't find you a study, which I would love to do, that says if you eat a plant-based diet, that all of your menstrual issues are going to go away. However, anecdotally, I have known friends and family members who have gone vegan or vegetarian, and their symptoms have subsided significantly. But we also have to keep in mind the meat that they were eating in biblical times
is not what we eat now.
It's steroids and antibiotics and all this stuff that they put in these meats so they can sell more and sell bigger. And then you get it at the store and like, oh, this is the biggest piece of meat. I got to get this one or whatever. I ain't bought meat in years. So if that's not how people buy meat, then
that's how we buy it.
Just forget what I just said.
No,
but I know people say stuff like that. But the meat that we eat these days is not the meat that even maybe our grandparents or our great-grandparents were eating. Like my maternal grandparents, great-grandparents were farmers. And so they raised their own chickens and pigs and stuff like that. And if they needed chicken, they took a chicken and killed a chicken, you know.
Right.
But that chicken was organic. I mean, you know, nowadays everything organic is all great. Everything used to be organic back in the day. All the fruits,
but you know what? The way they lie to us, even the stuff they're saying is organic, is a load of crap.
Right, nowadays, who truly knows?
Don't nobody know what you eating, child.
Unless you've grown it yourself and you know that you're not.
And guess what? They're doing stuff to the seeds, honey.
Yeah. No, I mean, right. Now, that's true. You never know.
Yeah, they really are messing with everything.
You got to pray over your stuff. But we have to realize that people are like, well, they ate meat in the Bible. People can eat meat. People eat meat around me. It doesn't bother me, not one bit.
Right.
But we have to realize that what they were eating then is not what we're eating now. And so we have to not. Just like we're aware of what we take in, your eyes, your lip, what you hear, what you see, what you actually take in and ingest. We got to be careful of what we ingest all around. But specifically, like I said, women, I had one patient, I remember she was like, man, my symptoms were so much better. She was like, I was living with my sister. She was like, they live in California. They basically eat vegan. And she goes, I was out there for like 8 months. I didn't have any problems. When I came back home and moved back, I can't remember why she was staying there. I moved back home. I started eating my old diet. That's when I started having really heavy periods again and all this stuff. But again, it's a process. If you can show somebody, like, these are the things you can expect, or try this. And I tell people, I'm like, look, I try and get people to do small stuff. Like, hey, you tell me you drink 3 cans of pop a day.
Drink 1.
Let's get you down to 1. I'm not saying don't ever drink it, but let's get down to
drink
1. Replace the other ones with water. Okay, now you're down to 1. Let's have pop 3 times a week. I mean, basically weaning,
Yes.
we would call it
Weaning.
weaning in medicine, off of whatever it is. And I'm like, you're going to get to a point, if you're really drinking a lot of water, you're not going to really want that. And then you're going to realize that what you were drinking tastes horrible. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
it did. Like, I did not, when I came back to things, and I still won't sit up and eat. I don't eat the way I used to eat. Like, the amounts and some of the stuff, like, I just don't have the same taste for it. Like, literally stepping away from it and allowing the Lord to clean me out, it made my appetite for things change.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm excited. You're so welcome to join us. It'll be so fun.
Girl, I am joining. Wait, when does it start again? I should know.
January 2nd.
Oh, okay. Good. Actually, my church is doing a fast. Is it start? I think it's starting the 2nd.
How y'all doing it?
For 7 days. So
but what are you going, like, how are you doing it? Like till 6 p.m.?
Midnight till like 3.
Oh, see, that's the same time as our fast. I'm having people fast till 3.
Yeah,
if people want to fast longer, they can, but it's till 3. And then the diet is all laid out. People don't even have to figure out their diet. Like, my sister, she's vegetarian. She's not vegan, she's vegetarian. But she created the diet, but she created the diet with meat in it. There's 5 or 6 different menus to choose from.
Yeah.
With the grocery list to go with it, and some of them are vegetarian, and some of them have like fish and chicken in it.
Sure.
But there's options for the vegetarians and for the people who eat meat. Yeah. But we don't even have to figure out what we're gonna eat or what to buy at the grocery store.
Cause girl, that be half the battle. Shoot, whether you're doing a plan or not, you like, what am I eating for dinner? And you don't want to eat the same thing over and over. I mean, not that you can't, but you know, sometimes you like, I want something new, but I also don't feel like making this.
Figuring out something new.
So to have that there.
So everything is laid out. We're going to exercise together 3 days a week, live inside of a Facebook group. We got our diet figured out for when we break fast at 3 p.m. Our Bible study stuff is laid out. You don't have to figure out what you're going to read or walk to. We got the motivation. I'm going to be coming with motivation every morning. Brief. Every morning to get us all going for the whole 40 days. And then we have a book club that's going to meet once a week and we're going through the book Fervent. You read that?
I've heard of it.
Girl, get it on Audible. You can walk to it or you can read it. Okay. And so we're going to have book club once a week on Sundays for that. And, by the end of the 40 days, we all going to be. And then at the end of the 6 weeks, we're having unless COVID shuts down, at the end of the 6 weeks, we're going to have a 1-day retreat.
Got it. Oh, nice. Oh, somebody said, when does the grocery list go out?
The grocery list goes out every week. Yeah, the grocery list goes out, I think, on Saturday.
So she a reader. She told the root author, girl, my mama reads, and I used to be a reader. I don't read like that anymore. I'm so sad. I need to get back to that. But, my mother is the queen of books, and she loves.
Yeah, she knows it is Priscilla Shire. This Priscilla Shire.
Girl, my mama loved her. She didn't went to see her. That's my mama found out she had a pulmonary embolism, girl, going to see Priscilla Shire. Yes, she was getting winded walking from the parking lot. I just told all your business, but you don't care. That's your testimony.
She just put all your business out on the street.
But listen, my mama will tell you her whole entire testimony. My mother walked around for 2 weeks short of breath. My mama could have died, girl. When we found out it was a PE, I was like, Lord. A pulmonary embolism.
Oh,
for
my
those of you who are on here that don't know what that is, it's basically a blood clot in the large vessels of your lungs that can basically stop oxygen from being able to get oxygenated blood to your body. And so if you don't have oxygenated blood, then you die. So yeah, she was walking to see her. Was that at a Moody conference, Ma? I don't remember. It was a conference of hers, and she was speaking there. So yeah, girl. For the 5 loaves.
So, oh my Lord.
There's the link.
Look at God keeping her. She had all those PEs and all those, and thank you, Jesus.
Girl.
So somebody was asking, what is where will the grocery list be posted? It's for the people in the program. So if you're interested in joining us, we have two membership opportunities. One is general membership, and it's $5.97 for the 6 weeks, and then the other is VIP membership, which is $12.97 for the 6 weeks. And the VIP membership is, you get the book club included with that. There's the daily words from me every morning, and then the retreat. But if you're not in VIP, you get the diet, you get the exercise plan, you get the Bible study, the Bible study tract and journals, so that you don't have to try to figure out what to study. We're gonna have weekly sessions. They'll be inside of the Facebook group where I'm teaching about things to prepare for surgery. And that's the highlights of it.
Yeah.
So, but if you go to the website, it'll explain all that stuff to you. If you have any questions, you can DM me. Dr. Kiarra has her own link.
I'm gonna share.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it. I'll put it in my stories for now. But then I'm also gonna. I gotta basically add it to kind of like my link tree.
And I'm gonna have I'll have a Q&A on Thursday. So if any of your people want to come on there, and then I'll encourage people to still use your link. If you want to join me, you can, and make sure they're there. However you want to do it, but you don't have to, and I will redirect them back to you if they came through you. If people have questions that they can't get answered in our DMs or whatever.
Right. Got it. That sounds
so
perfect.
Does anybody have any questions?
I'm excited now. I'm like, I need it.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. And the thing is, it's long enough where we actually can make a difference. And we're gonna make sure nobody quits after 5 days like everybody else do with New Year's resolutions. And notice we didn't say New Year's resolution. Yes.
No.
It has
to be a lifestyle change.
It's a lifestyle change. Yep. So that we can so that we can step into the territory that was assigned to us.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I love this. Was so fun.
We gotta do this again and just talk.
We definitely do. This was fun.
Cause look, we ain't hardly talking about no program. We done went on.
We ain't talking about no program, child.
But I mean, ultimately, a lot of the stuff we hit on was reasons why people ultimately end up in certain situations that lead them to be seeking and needing help in certain areas of their lives. This just happens to be the area of needing weight loss, and ultimately some people who desire to go on a plastic surgery.
Good night, Mom.
Oh, bye, Mom. Look at so some people already in here that are gonna be
yes, Ada was one of the first people to sign up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
So it's 9:37. I'm gonna let you go. I love you so much.
I know, I love you too.
It's so good to have.
We haven't even had a talk. That's probably why we were talking all over the place, because we haven't
talked in a while.
People are like, what they talking about? They just talking like friends.
Because we are.
To the point. But I'm just saying, like, can we get to the program? But I think most people, we had a whole lot of hearts and stuff like that. It resonated with people, like all the different points, because we were both able to share different points of our lives that we were able to be like, okay, we got to get still, and I need God. You got to tell me what to do. Like,
well, because at the end of the day,
it's not a gimmick.
Yeah, it's not a gimmick. At the end of the day, I care more about people having a breakthrough than I care about getting people to join the program. You know what I mean? And so I think that, and if you pay attention to even the numbers on this live, when we were having that talk, the numbers were higher. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I'm doing this out of obedience to the Lord to serve his daughters.
Right.
And so that conversation that we had, it blessed me, so I know it blessed the other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, first of all, I know that what God has done with me, and that's why I'm going to have Dr. Shanika on later this week too. Love her. Okay?
Yes.
She's so
we went
sold
to med
out
school together.
Y'all did?
Yes. We went to med school together.
I love her. Yeah. And I just want people to see that, first of all, you can have a doctor who is sold out for Jesus. Because I think it's important that people have that, because like I said, every problem isn't one that is natural.
It's natural. Yeah.
Right. And so understanding that the because we are in science and we are a part of the medical community, it's not separate. It's not supposed to be separate from God. Luke was a physician.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
God
so I
created
think
science.
we just went nuts with it with our simple tales. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I just, that conversation I think was important for people to see. And anybody that's didn't like it, they're probably not cut out for the thing anyway. Like God is leading specific people to this program.
To this. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because we want harmony in there. And the thing is, if we're all in there moving toward the same goal, the type of growth is going to be
exponential.
Yes. Explosive.
Yes.
Explosive.
Yeah.
For the kingdom. So
I'm gonna be
thank
praying
you so much.
Well, I'm gonna do it too, but I'm gonna be praying because when a whole bunch of people get together and they trying to move and advance the kingdom.
That devil, like he tried to do on this video, like, making us blurry. Right.
He like, what y'all doing over here?
Right.
Oh, it just happens to be a cookie laying right next to my bed at 10 o'clock in the morning. It looks so good and delicious. I mean, just all the little stuff. I promise you, our life as physicians is probably intermittent fasting, right? Like
literally,
you get up, you don't be eating for hours.
You don't be eating or drinking.
About food. You eat or drinking. You just go, 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 go. The moment you start actually fasting, all of a sudden,
it's so hard.
Oh, man. Oh. And don't let you have no kids you gotta cook food for. You be like, girl. But again, when you know what you're dealing with, you can work on that. But we still are human beings. We still have flesh, and but that's where the whole group dynamic comes in, because you like, okay, it's 20, 30, how many other people doing this with me? And this is just, what everybody's working in harmony. We all are doing this together. So that's just the power of being, one with the whole group. And so I think, like I said, it's just when I first saw you I was like, Myla, this is brilliant. This is amazing.
I know you DM me like, please tell me you're going to do this for longer. I was like, it's the Holy Spirit that led me to do it.
Yes. Yes. And I literally was like, this is fantastic, because I have never seen anything like this. From the perspective that you're approaching it, at least. So
I haven't either. It was he created it just for me. That's why the domain names was all available and everything.
Yes, we talked about that.
Like, it was weird.
It was like free and clear.
I was like, just like the book that I'm writing for people to have safe experiences lead up to surgery. Mm-hmm. I haven't announced it yet. It's called the Plastic Surgery Manual. And it helps people, got all the stuff in there to help you get ready and prepare for surgery, research, all that stuff. How the heck was the Plastic Surgery Manual available?
Yeah, right. Because you would think somebody's probably done this already. But again, you know why it hasn't been done?
Because he was saving it for me.
He was saving it for you, but also people are interested in just doing surgeries in general. Obviously, there's people like you, Dr. Amaka, like I know you all are always, doing lives and stuff, and you all are like-minded in terms of wanting to make sure people are safe. But people aren't necessarily, I mean, don't get me wrong, somebody might not do a surgery on somebody whose BMI is inappropriate, or they're not medically cleared. Like, ain't nobody taking somebody with active emphysema back to the OR, or something like that. But people aren't like, let me help you do this the right way. They're like, okay, you did the steps, you lost this 20 pounds you needed to lose. Okay, we'll do your surgery. And bye, whatever happens to you after that. I mean, obviously they have post-op checks and things like that.
But I'm
they're
like,
not necessarily invested in the whole,
on their soul.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
I can't wait. Now I'm excited, because me and my sisters were just talking about, we gotta find something to do to get us motivated. So I'm like, I'm like that. I need something that will drive me, that I can participate in, because it holds you accountable.
Well, welcome to the prep.
All right, girl. I gotta actually officially sign up, child.
Girl, I'm gonna throw you in there, child.
Okay, girl.
We're gonna put you in there. I'll get Jamal to get you in there.
Okay, yeah, me and Jamal, we friends now, girl. We've been texting back and forth trying to figure it out. But yes, if anybody is watching from my end, I'm gonna put a link in my stories for now. I'll have to add it on my basically my link tree in my bio so you can get to it. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for you. I'm excited really for what God is doing. And yeah, that's it.
All right, let's do it together, sister.
Yes, girl. Okay, Myla. It was good talking to you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.